and take you around this entire facility, which is really exciting, and you'll see some big buses in the bays and everything. So I will pass it on to our CFO, Kevin Sorso. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Madeline. Thanks for setting all of this up. So today, the city is well on its way to a goal of zero emissions fleet for ABQ RIDE by 2040. This pilot program that we launched in March has 5 vans in circulation, and it's taking our transit department to the next level. And the success of this program over the last few months illustrates some important facts. We don't have to choose between 2 seemingly competing values. We can do both. We can improve access, equity for our transit users, and create a more sustainable future for Albuquerque families and residents of Albuquerque. What these vans illustrate is ABQ's, Albuquerque's, and our transit's spirit of creativity and commitment to the community. This free program, this free microtransit ABQ RIDE Connect program, connects individuals with fixed route services. It's perfect for short but important trips. So if you're going to the doctor, going to the grocery store, a family that is very close to your neighborhood, you can just schedule, hop on, and get a ride. If we run behind, or if we have more capacity, we have less capacity, we're at capacity, we'll get a lift to you within 25 minutes, and you're not going to wait longer than 25 minutes. And these beautiful wraps, I just want to call out, those were designed in-house by our own team, and they celebrate the culturally significant urban and natural landscapes of New Mexico and Albuquerque. And these vehicles are not only just electric, they're cheaper to maintain than our gas or diesel counterparts. Results of our pilot program that's been going on for a few months: ridership numbers, positive reviews. We have a quote from a mom with 6 kids, single mom with 6 kids. This program is the most helpful thing you could ever do, and I'm grateful for this service. So that's one of the positive quotes that we've had over the past few months. And I do have to say thank you to our transit department, our media folks, our sustainability folks from our planning department. Also, a thank you to Leslie Keener. It was not that long ago, probably 6 or 8 months ago, that I was talking with our fleet folks who had a line on some electric vans. I mentioned it to Leslie. I didn't even have to say look into it. I mentioned it. She had an immediate interest, knew that we could move the city forward, move towards our sustainability goals with the purchase of these vans. She and her fleet team jumped on it right away, and we've been just rolling with it ever since. So this is the start of a new era for transit, and it gets us well on our way to sustainability. So again, thank everyone for being out here. Thanks to our team. And now we'll hand it off to Leslie for a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm Leslie Keener. I'm the transit director here at ABQ RIDE, and I just want to take a moment really quick just to give a couple of acknowledgments and thank yous out to the team. This really was a huge group effort for both the service to get up and running and for this now zero emission van deployment that we're extremely excited to be here for today. So outside of the department, our sustainability folks, of course, always appreciate the insight that they give us into the zero emissions future that we are looking towards. Also, the planning department, Directors Alan Varela and Deputy Director Jeremy Kaiser really helped us to push along the permitting to get the chargers installed, which is a key component for us to get these on the road. Internally, with ABQ RIDE, I'd like to thank our finance team for pushing this along. I know it was a lot to get the funding all through and make sure that we were able to purchase these vehicles behind us, as well as Chris Payton and Mark Eshelman for keeping the charger install moving. I know it got hung up a few times, and they were able to problem solve through that. Lynette Martinez, Leonard Garcia, our maintenance team, they got the vehicles ready to hit the road, so we appreciate everything they did to make sure that these were safe and ready to go. And then Chris Bergs and the IT team for equipping the vehicles, Sandra Seiss, Mark Montoya on the operations team for providing the service, Sean Gibson and the training team for training the drivers, and then finally Raul Delar, our marketing manager, Haley Davidson, our transit graphic designer who you'll hear from today, and Maddie Scrack, our new public information officer, for putting this all together and continuing to get the word out to the public so that they can utilize this great service with our new zero emission van fleet. So as Kevin had mentioned, this is a year-long pilot program. It has been up and running for about 3.5 months now. It started on March 18th. We are operating 2 service zones currently with these 5 electric vans that we have, the Southwest Mesa and the Rio Grande zones. And they were chosen based on previous studies due to density and demographics, and then less demand just for fixed route service. ABQ RIDE Connect is a tool that allows us to get individuals directly where they need to go within the zone, and now with zero emission vehicles, or we can also connect them with the fixed network system in areas with less fixed route. So recently, based on our customer feedback, we've actually expanded our hours by 30 minutes in the evenings. So now service is available from 7:30 in the morning till 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. And then additionally, based on that feedback too, we did add some Saturday service during those same hours from 7:30 to 6 for June and July for the summer hours. To date, we've seen over 1,900 completed boardings, and that's climbing week over week. We're getting closer to our goals. Our average rider experience is 97%, which is huge for us. And that's from the riders who left a review at the end of their trip. Our goal is 95% for that rider experience. So we're continuing to monitor the zone boundaries. We've made some tweaks when it made sense based on the feedback that we're getting from the community. That includes expanding some of the service in the Rio Grande zone so that now we've got stops that are just slightly outside the zone at the Smiths on 4th Street, as well as the Costco, Home Depot. And we've also included some of the pools that are in close proximity to both the zones for the summer months as well, so that people have access to the water when it gets hot. So as a reminder, the ABQ RIDE Connect app does integrate with the Transit app so that you do have full trip planning capabilities when it comes to that. So we now have these 5 electric vans ready to operate the service. We're extremely ecstatic about that. The addition of these electric vans to this program is extremely beneficial to the city. Socially, it's a mobility solution that adapts to changing needs of the community, and it bridges mobility gaps. Environmentally, it reduces our greenhouse gas impact and displaces our car trips, and it's ultimately cost-effective for our department. So these are more affordable to maintain and operate. Ultimately, as Kevin had mentioned, electricity is cheaper than gasoline. So these vans fit into the bigger picture of ABQ RIDE. Not only is this a step towards electrifying our fleet, it's a bigger move towards the administration's goal to be zero emissions for the entire city by 2040. And the department is continuing to work diligently to that effect. We recognize that transportation is a greenhouse gas emitter. We're taking steps to reduce that carbon footprint in the city. And we've been an early adopter, so as early as the 90s, we started moving towards the compressed natural gas, or our CNG buses, which you see out there right now, which is a cleaner burning fuel. And then we began our zero emissions work in June of 2022 when we bought 5 electric buses that you've seen on the road as well. And that was with the support of FTA grant funding. We've also embarked on a zero emission transit plan so that we can make sure that we are at that zero emission level by 2040. And we are on track for that goal, and we continue to explore alternatives such as hydrogen to achieve it. So we're always trying to figure out what that next bus or van or that purchase is, even with our additional non-revenue fleet, to get us to that goal. And we're eager to see how the new technologies continue to unfold as we continue down this path. So again, thank you all for being here today to support this pilot program, to support our goal towards zero emissions, and our macro sustainability leaps in microtransit. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Ann Simon, our Deputy Director of Policy and Sustainability Office.
All right, thank you all. It's great to be here. And I'm really excited. I'm the Sustainability Officer for the City of Albuquerque. And this cutting-edge approach to modernizing transportation not only helps us with our mobility, but it prioritizes equity and sustainability. We know this because in the 2021 Climate Action Plan, access to transit came up very high. We know that public transit is the primary mode of transportation for our frontline communities, and it needs to be the highest priority. One of the strategies specifically outlined improving the last mile, and that is this notion of where the public transit ends and your place of work or residence begins. And this program really helps us bridge that gap, so we're very excited about it. We know that our frontline communities are most impacted by climate change, and now there's a free ride share with no emissions, bettering our health and air quality at the same time. This service will enhance connectivity, as you heard from the other speakers, to essential services, including healthcare, education, employment, et cetera, but it also most especially allows us equal access to the environmental benefits of a clean transportation system. By improving transportation options in underserved areas, we're empowering our residents to participate more fully in everything the city has to offer, from economic to social and cultural amenities in the city, but it also allows us to help share the benefits of a clean environment amongst all of our residents. So this project is just one example of all of the impressive work that we're doing in sustainability, thanks to Mayor Keller and this administration. Earlier this year, we launched the Affordable Mobility Platform, which is an EV car sharing program in the International District, and it prioritizes low-income users, but really is open to all users. So it's just one more opportunity to get to that last mile. We also have a few other little sustainability nuggets. We have a food scrap pilot program at 2 food preparation sites, reducing greenhouse gas emissions and creating fertile soils. You wouldn't know, but even though we talk a lot here and we're talking today about transportation emissions, food waste is a primary source of methane in our landfill, so it's a very important program for sustainability, and it also allows us to do composting, some other things. Just one last little sustainability nugget, and that is that we received $1.7 million earlier this year to help our frontline communities improve energy efficiency in their homes, and that is reducing their carbon footprint, allowing them to save money, reducing their energy burden. So we're excited to keep the incredible momentum going on sustainability with projects like these, and just look forward to many more to come. Thank you. Sorry. And I'm now going to introduce this amazing artist, Haley. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Haley Davidson, and I am ABQ RIDE's graphic artist. I designed these new van wraps, as well as the bus wraps on our new compressed natural gas buses from Gillig. And they're pretty similar, but when I was approaching these designs, I decided to focus on the butterflies as a primary design element, because I thought it was such a perfect metaphor for what we're trying to do with microtransit. So when you think about butterflies, they are very fragile, very delicate. They're barely touching the earth, and yet they're really important because they're an essential part of our ecosystem, of the food chain. They're actually pollinators. So they barely touch the earth, and yet they profoundly impact it. So that's what we're trying to do with transit, is reduce pollution and our carbon footprint and provide an essential service for our community. Butterflies also have a cultural and religious significance across the world, but especially in Albuquerque, where we have our unique blend of Hispanic and indigenous cultures, and within those, there's a lot of cultural significance. In Mexico, you have the arrival of the monarch butterflies, which coincides with the Day of the Dead, and in a few different Native American tribes, they're symbols of love, hope, the bringers of color. So this shared symbol imparts another aspect of this pilot program, which is that transit is for everyone. Microtransit isn't going to meet every single need, but it is another piece of the puzzle. It allows us to move dynamically to address needs as requested through the app, instead of expending resources on routes with less ridership. So that'll free up resources to improve frequency where ridership is higher, so we can meet the needs of more people. So that's how I approach this. My hope is that it's aesthetically appealing, and it's a reflection of our commitment for arranging equitable and sustainable transportation for everyone in Albuquerque. And I hope you like it. Thank you. Maddie.
All right, thank you to our amazing speakers. We will now open up a Q&A if anyone has questions, so go right ahead.
Can we hear about cost?
Absolutely, I will pass that on to Leslie Keener.
So the total cost of the vans was $537,000. So it's a per vehicle cost of $107,000. It was paid for through FTA funds.
And the chargers?
I don't know. Do you know how much the charging cost was, Chris? $220,000 for the chargers. Mhm.
How many miles can it go with one charge?
I don't know if we have that in here. I'm not sure I've got that in here. Do you know the answer to that?
Hours-wise, if you go about 8 hours.
About 8 hours, and it takes about 2 hours to get a full charge on these charge point chargers that we have. Thank you.
Is there a goal that you're trying to reach by the end of the pilot program to determine if the program will keep going?
Yeah, so what we're looking for in the assessment of this pilot program, and that's a great question, I appreciate it. So as we approach March of '25, we're looking for our productivity to be between 2.4 to 3 passengers per vehicle hour. Right now, we're at about 1.02 for both zones combined. It's a little higher on the Southwest Mesa zone than on the Rio Grande, but we are, like I said, continuing week over week to see increases. And some of the things that we are changing with the zones based on the customer feedback is obviously helping to drive those numbers up. Customer satisfaction is also a key performance indicator for us, so 95% or above. So right now we're at 97%, so we're seeing really great feedback that we're getting from the people that are using the service. And then we'll just be looking at the cost and the budget implications as we move into the next fiscal year and seeing how that fits in with the rest of our program. But we really don't have any plans right now to expand beyond the 2 zones.
If the pilot program does not continue, would these vehicles be able to be retooled for another purpose?
Yes, that's another great question. So they are ADA capable, so we are able to use those in Sunvan service as well, so they would be able to fit into that fleet pretty easily. Other questions?
What's the total cost of running?
I don't have the total numbers right now for where we're at. Again, we're only about 3 months into the program, so we'll continue to look at that as we move forward. Any other questions?
You said there were some hiccups with the chargers. What's the status now? Are they all at the transit facility? Or?
Yeah, so again, like Kevin had mentioned, we got the lead on these vans, about 6 months ago. It was a pretty quick move for us to make, and with that, we wanted to have a separate set of chargers so that it wasn't impacting the 5 electric vans that buses that we currently have. So we had to build the chargers and get them put on the property from the starting process, which is a long process considering the permitting and just some of the deliverables that we had with, I think the transformers was an issue that the timeline on it took a little bit longer for us to get. So just trying to expedite that through was what the issue was. So they're up and running fine now, yes. Billy?
Yeah, you say the hours are from 7:30 to 6 p.m. in the evening?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, we have them early, like 6 to 6. For those who want to get to work earlier, somewhere early for that.
Again, like that feedback is extremely helpful. We can definitely be talking about that and seeing if we have the ability to add it. That's how we ended up adding the extended hours to 6 o'clock, was just 5:30 wasn't giving people enough time to potentially get off of work or do their evening, like early evening running around. So thank you for that feedback.
When we talk about these as almost kind of a ride share, I think most people think of calling a Lyft or an Uber and getting in the car by themselves. How does the route work with these? Do they make several stops before they drop folks off, or if people are considering using the service?
Yes, so it's not just a single ride from point to point. You will make the stops and pick up if there's other additional requests. Sometimes you might get lucky, and I know we've had several people that have had a direct route from just not having any other requests at the time. But if requests come in, it will route them based off of where those requests are. So there might be a pickup in between. You might have a couple pickups and drop-offs before you get to where you need to go. But if it does roll to the Lyft, as Kevin had mentioned, that is just a direct route that you'll end up taking for that. So you have an additional time that you're probably waiting, and that's why it's going to Lyft. So we take away that stopping and picking up other people and giving you that direct route for that.
All right. Does that include everything?
Thank you.
Great. All right. Appreciate it. Okay, everyone, so now we're going to get a few photo ops, and like I said, we're going to have our maiden voyage with Mr. Sorso here. If any media would like to take their cameras and be in the van, that is acceptable. Just let me know if you want to do that, and we'll get you all situated. So the first thing I'll ask for is Sean to direct our photo ops, and thank you all so much.
All right, let's get everybody in front of the van door open. You want it?
I was thinking of sitting in the van and